It took me 3 hours to record a 50-second clip that would end up in this video, somewhere over here. It's imposter syndrome at its finest. My brain asking and telling me the following. Why am I doing this? No one's gonna watch. You suck. Why even bother? Everyone is judging you. Dude, just quit and cry yourself to bed. In this video, I'll explain what imposter syndrome is and why it happens. Then I'll show you a 5-minute video of me having imposter syndrome while filming that with the amazingness of editing became a 55-second clip on this video over here. After the video, I'll explain 8 actionable steps I take to keep my imposter syndrome in check until it eventually goes away. So we all have imposter syndrome, unless you're a psychopath, sociopath, or narcissist. Imposter syndrome is our brain's response of us trying something new, unpredictable, and possibly dangerous. When we want to change and do something new, our brain is always going to consider this as a danger, since it doesn't know the outcome. Since it doesn't know the outcome, it's always going to predict the worst possible event, us dying. Our brain's main mission is preventing us from dying. Imposter syndrome is our brain's last effort to ditch us from trying something challenging, something new, something unpredictable, that we quit before we even start and go to the status quo that we had before. So our subconscious brain is the main effort that's trying to push us to feel the following. You don't deserve your achievements. Your success is luck instead of skill. That others will not find you as capable as they think you are, and that you're gonna be an imposter. That you downplay your abilities if others praise you. That you overwork and want everything to be perfect, which is gonna lead you to burnout, which I'm gonna cover in this video over here. Now, let's look at this 5-minute video clip of me having imposter syndrome. And the last action that I always take is, and the last step that I always take is, I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable. And the last step, and the last step that I continuously take, to being flexible and adaptable is that I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable. As a leader, that is a constant. I am uncomfortable. As a leader, this is a constant for myself and for every other leader around me. And the last step that I always take, and the last step that I always strive to do is being comfortable. And the last step that I always push myself to do is to being comfortable with being uncomfortable. As a leader, that's a constant. I'm always going to be uncomfortable because there are always situations that I haven't anticipated that are going to push me through and past my limits, and that I always have to overcome. Because if I'm not going to overcome them, I can't expect my team to overcome them as well. This is also one of the things with leading by example. So let's say even right now, this is my first video that I'm actually filming outside, and I am extremely uncomfortable because. So this is my first video that I'm actually filming outside, and I'm extremely uncomfortable. First, because I've never done it. Secondly, because. So this is my first video that I'm actually filming outside, and I'm extremely uncomfortable with this. First is that I've never done it before. It's stretching my boundaries and what I'm comfortable with. Secondly is that there are people around me, and I'm super uncomfortable right now filming with people just walking by me and actually looking at me. Hey, am I crazy? Am I not crazy? What am I doing? And this is one of the and this is one of the things of my imposter syndrome. As you were able to see, there's a person there, and I actually just stopped talking because I'm still so uncomfortable doing this. But I'm pushing myself. I'm making sure that I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable. And the more I do this, the more I'm going to be better at it, and the more comfortable I'm going to become. And then I'll be able to actually, I'll actually be able to push my limits even more and more and more. And with doing these things, and with being uncomfortable, I'm going to be pushing myself to become, and with being uncomfortable, I'm going to be pushing myself to become even more and more comfortable, which is going to mean, which is going to enable me to push my limits even more and more and more, and actually not care about people just walking around and looking at me like I'm crazy because I'm talking to a camera. And let's say for this example, I may actually be able to interact with people a little bit more and actually film and actually be really comfortable with filming while they're actually walking, because right now I was super uncomfortable. Whatever cut makes it here, like I had a few people actually walking past and I was super nervous. I honestly don't know what I was even talking about. So probably in post-production is going to be a lot easier and a lot better. But just here is a fact that I am super but the fact is that I have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable so that I can actually push myself to the limits and improve myself over and over again, which is one of the basic things with being adaptable and flexible. It's always going to be like this. So yeah. This is the imposter syndrome. So this is also the imposter syndrome. So this is also the imposter syndrome. So this is also the imposter syndrome with so this is also the imposter syndrome of so this is all this is also the imposter syndrome talking through me, because I am again super uncomfortable and I'm babbling along, blah 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 blah, because I really don't know what to say, but I think I need to say a little bit more. So at this moment, being comfortable with being uncomfortable. So, and I'm going to finish this now with, again, be comfortable with being uncomfortable. So here are the 8 steps that I take to minimize imposter syndrome. Step 1, I'm going to recognize imposter syndrome, and that's okay. It's there. It should be there. That means I'm pushing myself out of my boundaries, out of my comfort zone, and I'm trying something new, something unpredictable. If I fight imposter syndrome directly, I'll get exhausted. My subconscious brain is going to win. I'm going to revert back to status quo. I'm not going to change anything. I'm not going to improve myself. Step 2 is I try and ditch my negative thoughts. And when I mean try to, I actually do mean try to. It's not going to happen always. Sometimes my subconscious is just way too powerful and I just can't ditch the negative thoughts. That's normal. They're there. But what I'm telling myself is that I'm capable. I know that I can change. I know that I can improve myself. Step number 3 is that I bank my successes. I always make sure that I remember where I succeeded, when I succeeded, and I memorize it. I put it in my Successify playlist. Ever something happens that wants to prevent me from improving myself, from changing myself, I always revert back to the Successify playlist. So also the best way to do this Successify playlist is to actually write it down. So I'm going to be the first one to tell you that I don't do that. I'm not in that stage that I actually am comfortable with like just writing stuff down. Step 4 is that I talk about it with my mentors, my coach, and my support group. I have all 3 of them. That I always talk about my questions, my thoughts, my doubts, and everything else around it. And they give me their experience, what they've been through, and how I can improve myself. And this gives me strength to know that I'm not the only one that's actually going through this. Step 5 is that I don't want to be perfect. I don't need to be perfect. 60% of now is better than 100% never. My 100% is never going to happen. There's always going to be some issues, some challenges, or some holes that I will need to improve. But if I wait for 100%, I'm never going to push myself. I'm never going to post this video. Every single time I push myself, it's going to get better. It's going to get from 60% to 61, 62, 65, 70, and then to 80%. And legitimately 80% is all that I'm aiming for. 80% is enough for me to succeed. I don't need 100%. I'm never going to get to 100%. And neither should you. Aiming for 100% perfection is just going to mean that you're going to stay at the same place forever. You're never going to improve yourself because 100% is legitimately not possible. Whoever tells you that is a freaking fake. Number 6 is that I set myself goals. So when I set myself goals I set myself an overarching goal, a goal for 6 months, 2 years, and 5 years. And then I set myself smaller goals, milestones that I want to achieve every week, every 2 weeks, every month, every 2 months, until I actually reach that goal that I've set myself on to achieve in 1 year or 5 years. Step number 7 is I want to get feedback. I want to get feedback from my subordinates, my peers, my superiors, mentors, coaches, and everybody else that I think is going to actually give me a valid opinion, a valid feedback on how I can improve myself, on how I can make myself better. One of the things that I'm really careful about feedback is that I make sure that I weigh the value of the feedback. So that means if somebody that I don't know, I don't trust gives me feedback, I'm not even going to value it. And then the last one, step number 8, is I'm going to reflect. So this is probably one of the most important steps that I take with crashing the imposter syndrome. Because what I'm going to reflect on is where I was 3 months ago, 6 months ago, and 1 year ago. How I've progressed since then. How much I've improved since then. How much have I grown? With these 8 steps that I take, I know that I'm on the right path, that I'm growing myself, and that I'm improving myself. I'm making sure that it doesn't limit me on what my potential is. And most importantly, I'm kicking imposter syndrome in its ass. Imposter syndrome is a constant that we all need to learn to live with and deal with it. And I think you're gonna like the next video over here.